So as we started up the material again, we were talking about the will to direct our reality or to direct our experience. So let's continue with Socrates. I was saying it's so confusing and difficult here in physical to understand how we create our reality. So let's see what he says. Are we God or are we not God? What part of God are we using? You know that directing the will has something to do with accessing the God part of yourself. And so the logical translation for this is in the traditional sense, we pray to God thinking that God is something outside of ourselves. We pray for something without realizing that the energy of that level to prevent or create something when we're praying for that, we are tapping in and utilizing the God energy to work through other energies and affect them in ways that help us achieve our desired goal or the desired result. And so when we think of praying for something, we don't see how it happens on an energy level. And there's absolutely no conflict between the concept of prayer of asking God for something. There's no conflict between creating reality and prayer. That we utilize our own God energy and translate and create some other energy by redirecting energy, adding energy to a situation or event in order to create an outcome. And this is the concept of prayer, but it happens in an energetic sense. Now, the energy for this transforming does come from God. It doesn't come from the species, because the species has the plan and the species has the information pool. But as a species, we do not have the kind of energy available from the species identity to really affect any other materialization or energy exchange. And it doesn't come from the life system because life is animating us. But the type of energy that can do this is the God energy. And that's why it's called the seed of creativity, because it's the only energy that we have available with which we can literally create or make changes, even though we utilize the Earth's own energy. And now, as you know, you can create to destroy as well as create to construct. And I have a lot of information on this already, so he's saying using creativity for negative means is a dead end. But most people in their life are trying to tap in to a sense of personal power or personal will or personal creativity in their life. Most people do not seek to destroy. When you pray you are drawing from the current God source energy that is available to us and transferring or translating or superimposing, even in a very abstract way, over a situation, condition, or event, or happening. And this must follow natural law. You are participating in a system that has very confining physical laws. It's very limiting. Very limited exchange of energy types possible here on the planet, and we have to adhere to those laws. We can't just manifest something out of thin air. I'm asking him about the day-to-day living, the day-to-day. You know, the fear and neurosis born of trying to meet our needs. However frivolous or unnecessary they may seem. And then there are very valid needs, such as healing, illness. So let's see what he says about this. I'm asking, how do we use our will to affect our day-to-day reality? How do we use our will to know what is true and what is not true? That's my question that I'm asking right now. Will is the word for the purposeful exchange of God energy, the translation of universal energy. He said universal energy might be a better word for you to use in terms of this discussion, because the universality of this energy means it can transform or enhance any other matter or energy form because of its universality. Then I asked, where does our will come from? I was trying to solve some problems in my life at this point, some challenges. Let's not call them problems. Let's call them challenges. And so some of my questions were fairly personal. I'm waiting to see what the general information is with his answer. You see, where people get confused is that will seems like the product of the mind, but it isn't. What the will is going to accomplish should be called being held in the mind's eye, but there are so many different levels that the will functions on, not just the mind. That you look at will as product of mind, but it is the product of the dynamic of the entire person. So I think he means spiritual. Instead of the word creating reality, influencing reality. would be a much better way of putting it. To utilize your own God-given energy to influence a situation or condition or activity around us is a better way of thinking than creating. Because a lot of things that we would like to influence, we did not set in motion. You didn't start them. That's what he's saying. If you will something to happen at some point in your life, you may have an intersection with that process that is already existing contiguously, that has been set in motion by somebody else. So you didn't create it. You didn't start it from zero with everything you want to accomplish. You know you're in a constant state of building. So to influence your reality is a better word than creating. And direct our reality is a good word. Because the flow of events may already be set in motion. And so you can direct our part by force of will, but you may not be able to change a condition or situation by ourselves. But it is good to think more in your time and age of directing or transforming conditions, situations, and events around us, not in the sense of starting from scratch, but more than submitting to the authoritarian flow of events, your minds are not ready yet to understand the potential of the human species. You're only taking baby steps in this direction. If you think until recently how many things you didn't even know was possible, and the concept of God in individuals has changed tremendously, that we now see it as part of ourselves, working within ourselves instead of something that is outside of us. And you are just entering the phase of self-will as a species right now. And so you may not be able to see the whole evolution of human potential, because you're certainly not there yet. I think in this culture, I think we'd all agree with that. But you can direct God energy to a situation, condition, or event and attempt to transform it to something that might be more beneficial to us. And the power of God works effectively for the power of good. So using your will to direct evil activities dissipates your own God energy. It constricts the flow of the universal energy that is flowing to and through us. So you're in a much more powerful stance. If you're attempting to transform a situation in a beneficial way for those around you or yourself. Yeah, we seem to be looking at dream state for some reason. So I'm waiting to... and we're not going to go to dream state. I think we're going to end this here. I think this was... he said it is a confusing time because it is a transferring of belief that reality is created in an authoritarian way by some structure above you, to the idea that we're creating our reality by ourselves. We're sort of in the midway point. We don't really know how to transfer energy completely yet. We are learning how to influence it. And I think that is a good stopping point. He said, you are not ready for the final lesson yet. I think now, doing this in 2019, yes, we are not ready for the final lesson yet. We haven't even overcome or decided to be good. So, although I think more people are living in light than are living in dark at this point. So, that was the end of the meditation. Thank you so much.